Top Fuel Racing Series is on the air, live from the Dirty South. It's the ESBN Dirty South Grand Prix at Road Atlanta. Tonight's broadcast brought to you in part by Crumb's Custom Graphics. For all your in-sim graphical needs, Paul Crumry is who you need to be in touch with. You can find him on his Facebook page, Crumb's Custom Graphics. Our very good friends over at AZ Direct, your online electronic superstore for all your sim peripheral needs. They do ship worldwide. AZ Direct. And for all your supplement needs, Discount Nutrition is where you need to be. DNCSupplements.com, and they do ship worldwide as well. And of course, it wouldn't be an ESBN broadcast if we didn't mention our very, very good friends over at pH Aware. Pulmonary hypertension, one of the most difficult to diagnose terminal illnesses on the planet, due to the fact that it masks itself as so many other terminal illnesses that by the time doctors can put the pieces together, the only thing that's left is a double lung transplant. For more information on how you can get more pH Aware, we ask that you go to phaware.global. Tony Trapasso up in the booth with you tonight. We're going road racing, kids. First road race of the second half of the season. Qualifying underway currently. Some familiar faces back with us tonight. Let's get right to it. As we're going to take a quick look at our point standings after last week. Jeff Hollingsworth opening up an 8-point lead, sitting at the top of the pile, 391 points to the on top of the pile. Scotty Brinson 8 points back. Then there's a huge jump, 42 points from Brinson to Mayato. Mayato, of course, was not here last week. Chris Samard closed the gap up from Mayato to himself to 1 point. Paul Crumry is only 2 more points back, 53 out of the lead now. Chris Walker closed the gap, only 8 points back. Mark Walker's only 9 points back from him. Sage Karam dropped a couple of spots, now 12 points off of Walker. Robert Dudley gained a couple of spots, moving up from 10th, now sitting in 9th in points, only 6 points away from Sage Karam, who I'm not seeing in the field tonight. Kevin O'Brien breaking into the top 10 after a decent finish last week. So point standings still up for grabs. Still going to be a tough one to sort out before all is said and done. Again, qualifying underway right now. Keith Mayato sitting at the top of the pile. First one to go sub 1.6. Scotty Brinson, your defending series champion, sitting second quick. Rick Ravon in his second race back, currently sitting fourth quick as Chris Walker jumps up to second quick. I guess a cruise did him good. Holy cow. As Chris Samard just eats the wall on the downhill section. Mark Walker making his way out on track right now. Currently sitting 8th quick. Only 12 cars are taking time right now. 15 cars in the field. And there we see Ravon in the Valvoline 44. Going to take a quick look at, thank you Trading Paints for not updating again. Darn you. Sam Cooper Bennett on his outlap eats the wall cresting the off camber.
Good evening, Tony. Better late than never. Sorry about the delay.
Yeah, better late than pregnant. Joining me in the booth now, Mr. Byron Rodney. Byron, welcome to Hotlanta.
Yeah, Road Atlanta. Road course racing with the open wheels. It's truly a unique experience.
Absolutely. You know, this one of the races I always kind of look forward to. And I don't say that about many road courses, especially when I'm broadcasting, simply because they don't lead, in my opinion, they don't lead to good broadcasts. But this one of the tracks that we always put on a good show whenever we come here. And, you see right now we're watching Keith Mayato in the only Alfa Romeo powered Indy car, currently sitting atop the pile, 105.3. Chris Walker only 0.6 back, second, the only other car to go sub 1 minute 6 tonight so far. And
yeah, this track, I love this track from an open wheel standpoint. It's not a track that leads to a lot of gaps in the racing. It's a track that, as a driver, you are busy all lap long.
Very much so. And you just saw Mayato go through one of the most difficult sections on the track. You crest the hill off camber, turning right, and you're going to do it again where he is right now. You're off camber slightly to the left as you crest and go down the hill. And then it's an off camber double right-hander, and you see him get a little twitchy there coming out of the corner. Again, one of the more difficult sections of track, and if you can get that right, you're gonna be able to really crank one off. As Mayato has shown, he's already gone sub 1 minute 6. There's Scotty Brinson in the Fuzzies 14. Now that S turn that he just went through, just before you crest and go down the hill to the front stretch, that's another tough one. You've really got to get the car planted because you're coming downhill. You're carrying a ton of speed into that first left-hander, and you've got to be set up perfect for that left-hander, or else you're going to get the right-hander portion of it completely wrong.
Yeah, very technical, very busy track. You need to put the car in the right place, and which makes passing a premium here. Not very many passing zones that you can overtake and hold your corner in the proper fashion to pick up the speed on turn exit.
Well, this is really a track of give and take. You've got to know, okay, I've got to give up a little on this corner, because if I give it up on the next corner, I'm screwed on the next straightaway. So I can give up a little going into this corner, and I can make it all back coming out of the next corner. And that's really what you've got to have the mindset to do when you come to a track like Road Atlanta. Is we see Brinson coming into that S turn again, and again you're coming downhill, you're carrying a ton of speed, and then you're uphill, cresting the hill under the bridge, and then downhill off camber to the right that leads to the front straightaway. And if you get that wrong, you get it horribly wrong, horribly quickly.
Yeah, I hear that. And I want to apologize to everyone. One small technical difficulty. I joined the race as a driver by accident, so you might see my name flash by, but I'm not out there in the track. I'm up here in the booth.
I was wondering why I saw your name on there.
Yeah, well, I don't get to have the privilege of broadcasting these things so much, so I make a goof up every now and then when I try to spectate it to watch it.
Well, there is one thing that I do need to discuss with you before you leave tonight, so don't leave right after the race is over, because I do need to run something by you. Speaking of from a broadcast standpoint. So 13 cars have taken time so far. Mayato, Walker, Brinson, Ravon, Smard, Cooper Bennett, Wubker, O'Brien, Mark Walker, Chris Beam running out your top 10. Jeff Hollingsworth, your points leader, currently sitting in 11th, 107.7 for Hollingsworth. Let's take a quick look at the new paint scheme on Cooper Bennett's ride. Now,
yeah, I was given a preview of this paint scheme earlier, and I want to say the man who painted this, if that was Sam himself, my hat's off to him.
That was Sam himself.
To put the puzzle pieces on that car the way he did and make it look as good as he did, my hat's off to him. And there are some fans watching this broadcast that support the awareness that he's bringing with those puzzle pieces.
Now, the one thing we do need to mention for those of you wondering what we're talking about, you see the different jigsaw puzzle pieces all over Sam's car, and you can read it on his front wing. April is Autism Awareness Month. And, autism is one of the more misunderstood illnesses around. And, any awareness that can be brought to it to help try to put the pieces together, to help make somebody more comfortable, we're definitely all for it. And good on you, Sam. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Sam's nephew does suffer from autism.
My hat's off to the family and the people that help take care of the kids that do suffer with autism. My wife is one of them, and she takes care of the school kids in the grade school level. She's been yelled at, spit at, had things thrown at her, bit, cussed at, but she still just embraces them and holds them tight, because it's not something we want to put them away for, shove these kids away for. This is something we want to embrace, bring awareness to, and bring a cure to.
And the thing is there's so much misinformation out there about autism. As far as, oh, well, this or that, and no, that's not how it works. And to bring awareness to it is really the first step in trying to help solve the issue.
Yeah, and to use this platform the way that these gentlemen here racing today do, with this broadcast and with everything, is something I just applaud and can't speak enough on. Their hearts are...
The hell
right
just
there.
happened? What just happened? No, don't do this to me. Don't do that to me. I have no idea if we're still live, folks. I do apologize, as everything just went black on me.
Well,
and we're back.
That's funny. You said everything went black, and I heard sirens drive right by my house.
Now, for those of you wondering why that's funny, Byron and I live about a mile from each other in real life. So, yeah, that is kind of disturbing. Let's put it that way.
You went black and the fire and the sirens lit up. That is kind of funny.
So, anyways, about 2 minutes left in the qualifying session here at Road Atlanta. My Auto's still sitting atop the pile. Chris Walker was able to reel him in by another tenth. Now has it down to 5/10 to the good for my Auto. Sam Cooper Bennett unfortunately gets it wrong coming down the downhill section. But a couple of names that stick out to me that aren't here.
Sage Karam.
Sage Karam is not here. Nate Siefker is not here. But Nate is having computer or internet issues. The other name that's really sticking out that he's not here is Robert Dudley, who, after last week's race, took over 9th place in points. So that could cause a huge shakeup in the point standings before the night's out. Everyone else in the top 10 is here. So, if you're not out on track right now, you're not going to get a flyer in, though. So there's the bad news, as we're watching Rick Ravon crank one out.
45 seconds to the end of qualifying.
And again, you are watching the Top Fuel Racing Indy Series, IR18s. They do this every Wednesday night. And if you want to get involved with the action, you can find them in the league section of iRacing, and you can find them on their Facebook page, Top Fuel Racing.
A very talented bunch of individuals. I've had the privilege of not only broadcasting the races, but racing a few with them. A lot of fun, great league.
Absolutely, a very competitive league, but as competitive as these guys are and can be, they still are here, most importantly, to have fun. That's the biggest thing, is these guys are all here to really just enjoy themselves.
Well, we come to the end of qualifying. Looks like Keith Maiato is going to sit in that top pole position. 0.5 of a second to the good over P2 and Chris Walker.
And Chris Walker missed last week because he was on a cruise. So I'm thinking the vacation has done wonders for Mr. Walker.
Rick Raven's sitting there. He's 7/10 off of the lead pace. Going to start P3. Chris Samard's going to take the grid that looks like at P4. Scotty Brinson, rounding out your top 5.
Well, now let's take a quick look at the point standings coming into tonight. You remember Hollingsworth, with a very emotional win last week at Pocono, took over the outright points lead over Scott Brinson. Hollingsworth is going to roll off in P11. Mayato, your pole sitter, lost a few points after missing last week, is now only 1 point to the good over his teammate Chris Samard. Both of them are going to start in the top 4. So, real tight for third. Paul Crumry is only 2 points off of Chris Samard. Paul, not the qualifying attempt he was hoping for, sitting in 14th with a 109.5. But he still put in a clean lap. And that's the big thing here, is putting in clean laps. Again, like we mentioned, Sage Karam, Robert Dudley both are not here. Kevin O'Brien is here. And let's take a quick look at the starting grid, as these kids are going to start to grid up here momentarily. Up on the pole, the Canadian crippler himself, Keith Mayato. He's joined with the Michigan Mauler, Chris Walker. Row number 2, as soon as I can get my mouse back, there it is going to go to the Jersey Jet, Rick Ravon, and he's joined with the Patriot himself, Chris Samard. Row 3 is going to see defending series champion Scotty Brinson. He's joined with Jeff Wubker.
Sam Cooper Bennett is going to take the start from P7, followed by Kevin O'Brien sitting in P8. We're going to round out the top 10 with Mark Walker and Chris Behan. Jeff Hollingsworth, surprising to me, but it is a road course in these cars. He's going to take off P11. Cameron Mustaine coming off with the 12th starting spot. Mike Gandy in 13th. Paul Crumry starting P14th. Ron Hollyfield taking the grid on P15. Dylan Vos didn't lay down that qualifying time.
And rounding out the field, starting shotgun on the field in 17th is going to be Paul Jourdain. Again, not able to get a clean lap in the qualifying session. So 55 laps of scheduled distance here tonight.
Yeah, you don't have to be the fastest on the track, but what's going to pay off for this road course, like I said, it's a very busy course to drive, is your consistency.
Very much so. Again, this is the ESBN Dirty South Grand Prix of Road Atlanta. This is the Top Fuel Racing Indy Series. Some of the nicest guys you're ever going to meet. Competitive, yes. Friends, absolutely. But
and things can get heated on the track, as I can vouch for from different leagues and this one. I've got my ear to the driver chat in the game, and I'll pass along anything I catch along.
Fair enough. As the field starts to roll off, Johnny Antonucci also not laying it down at time, so Antonucci and Jourdain going to start in row number 9, or scheduled to start in row number 9. Antonucci choosing to pit start, as is Dylan Vos and Kevin O'Brien.
And don't pay attention to that 05 Byron Rodney guy.
Yeah, F him. Quick check of the weather here in Hotlanta. Relatively cool conditions for Atlanta, the Atlanta Metroplex, shall we say. 76-degree ambient air temperature. Track temperature only at 81 degrees. So a lot of grip out there, Byron.
Yeah, Road Atlanta, usually we call it Hotlanta, but a lot of grip on the track, open wheel cars that are just going to hug it. We got 12 turns, 2.54 miles of just all-out racing. And as I said, whoever holds the most consistent, or pretty wheel as we call it, is going to find themselves up at the front at the end of this thing.
Very much so. As the field coming down the first downhill section, you do carry a ton of speed into that corner. That's that double apex, or double back-to-back right-handers that we were talking about earlier. And you kind of have to give up the first one to get the speed out of that second one. And
it's all about corner exit on that second right-hander.
Simply because you're going uphill at that point. and the car can get real light under that Mazda bridge as you crest that little roller. If you don't have the car pointed straight, you're gonna end up in that motor coach lot that's off the side of the track there. Either that, or you can put it in the porta-john that they're passing right now. I've done both. That's why I can say this. Then you come into that downhill into the S section that we had spoken about earlier, that you carry so much speed down this hill, and then you're hard on the binders into that left-hander.
Well, we're coming around that left-hander, Tony. I believe it's time for those famous words.
Just about. As the field goes up the hill and under the Suzuki bridge, pace car getting ready to make that hard left turn. And now it's time for Grandpa to pop a Viagra, because it's time to get it on at Hotlanta. Green flag comes out, Mayato pulls the trigger, and we are underway for 55 laps of action.
And Keith Mayato's going to lead him around that first turn and take him up the hill. We got one off the track already. It looks like Chris Simard came off.
Simard and the Nuclear Banana doing a little lawnscaping as they come to the first uphill. He's going to lose a ton of spots. Tries to get it back on track in 6th place. Lost a lot of ground to the leaders, though, as Mayato, a little bit of a gap to Chris Walker, about half a second, four car lengths. And then you got 4 more car lengths to Rick Ravon, who got a great start. Scotty Brinson just trying to survive. Admittedly, he's not a road racer, and he'll be the first to tell you that. He's just trying to survive tonight and get as many points out of here as he can.
Well, Mr. Byron just remembered that he does have ATVO timing and scoring on his computer, and I just brought it up. And it is interesting to watch the gaps just open up, and I can see, folks, who's going to make the trip on the track and who's going to be pulling the trip off of the track.
Absolutely. As they come around to complete lap 1, Dylan Vos not taking the green, Johnny Antonucci not taking the green, and Paul Jourdain not taking the green. Byron, if you could just double check to make sure those 3 gentlemen are actually still in the session, that'd be great.
I will take a quick look here real fast. I am not showing Paul Jourdain in the session. I'm not showing Dylan Vos either.
What about Mr. Antonucci?
Mr. Antonucci shows in the session, but I don't see him on track.
Fair enough, as Kevin O'Brien and Mark Walker both pit starting, so there's a pretty good gap between Ron Hollyfield, who actually did take the green, and Kevin O'Brien. 2.5 seconds is the gap there, as you see Hollyfield in the Ferrari paint scheme. Yeah, we've already discussed my feelings on Formula One paint schemes on Indy cars.
Well, it might have just been done in honor of Alonso coming over from Formula One to Indy. I'm interested to see how that's going to go over.
No.
Not even a little?
No. There's, and for those of you who missed my commentary on this last week, there's a long-standing unwritten rule in iRacing that if someone has a Formula One paint scheme on an Indy car,
I'll let you describe it.
I'm trying to think how I can say this diplomatically. It's even money in Vegas that they're going to wad the field. As Mike Grandy, let's see what happened to Mike coming over the crest of that. Yep, got it all wrong coming over that off camber and just barely able to get it stopped before the tire barrier. So didn't hit anything, which is a good thing. Here comes Mark Walker. Going to lose some ground to him. And Chris Simard has already taken it pit side. So burning the fast repair early in the Nuclear Banana. Chris Simard hoping to try to at least keep pace with his teammate. Not sure how that's going to work out, as Keith Mayato showing why we call him the Canadian Crippler, as he is 2.5 seconds to the good already. And we're only working
2.5 seconds to the good, and 44 seconds over the last car on the lead lap.
Well, we're only working lap 4. And here's the thing. When we get the next camera shot, there's Mayato, and you saw Chris Walker in second place, 2.5 seconds back. There's Chris way back in the distance. That little purple dot was Chris Walker. That's the type of pace that Keith Maiato is setting right now.
But like we said, people, you don't get discouraged in this type of racing, especially in these cars on this course, because I'll guarantee you Keith Maiato is very busy behind that wheel. He's hitting his marks, but he's got to hold that concentration for 55 of these laps, plus his pit stops. So it's all about consistency here. Won't take but one bobble, and he'll find himself down in third and fourth.
Well, while I'm thinking of it, the boys in the truck are telling me they did put a GoPro on Maiato's helmet. Let's follow him for a lap.
The GoPro will show you he is a busy individual behind that wheel. This being about the only part of the track where you can actually stop and get himself a drink and not have to think, but it's hard on the binders coming to the S's. Amazing he makes those downshifts that quick look that easy.
It does make those downshifts look quite easy, and it just... I was watching there was a Dale Jr. does a podcast, and he was talking with one of his father's old crew chiefs. Or no, I take that back. He was talking with Tony Stewart about it, and they were talking about raw talent versus taught talent. And you can tell by just how fluid Keith is with that wheel in his hand, and how seamlessly he makes the downshifts and the upshifts, just what type of raw talent Keith has behind the wheel of the car. Under the Suzuki bridge, and you see the back end wanted to step out, and he caught it.
Taking it off track. He has lost all his speed.
Well, let's take a look here. Not seeing... Well, we're backing it up. Not seeing where he may have... Oh, there it is. Wing damage. He killed the cones.
Consistency, folks. It's what we were talking about at the beginning of the race, and it's what it's going to take to stay up in the race.
Who is that directly in front of him? Because I know it's not... Oh, that is Paul Crumry. New paint scheme for the 88 tonight. Let's see what happened with... Oh, Paul doing a little landscaping, coming over that off-camber right-hander. Surprising to see Paul in something other than a 7-Up paint scheme. Apparently rocking Monster Energy tonight, and...
oh, as much crap as he gave you when we sent him that picture, we must have to give it right back to him tonight.
Yeah. For the longest time, it was the Make 7 Up Yours number 8. And now it's the Unleash the Beast number 88. And Byron, your thoughts on the whole Monster Energy debacle going on right now in the NASCAR series?
Well, I haven't read everything on that, and I'm kind of holding my opinion on it because I do have an opinion, but it's not going to be a popular one for everyone to hear. But I want to make sure I vet my my knowledge on it properly before I open my mouth.
Well, I've read what there is to read about what they're planning on doing, and If it was 20 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, I could say, yeah, they could get away with it. But with as tight as budgets are for marketing these days, unfortunately, I think NASCAR is going to find itself struggling to find series sponsorships, much like the NHRA was a couple years ago.
I think that they're already there. I was recently at a NASCAR event, and it broke my heart to see how empty that stadium was at that particular location.
Right, but what I'm getting at is, if you take a look at what the NASCAR champion makes for the series point standings, and compare that to the top fuel champion at NHRA, it's about a tenth. You know, the top fuel champion in NHRA isn't making $200,000 for winning the championship. And you know, when you have a sponsor that's willing to put up the money for the points fund like Monster is, I kind of got to wonder what the higher-ups are thinking.
I'm with you on that, and I'm going to hold my opinion because I do have something to say about it. But like I said, I want to make sure I'm not talking through my butt too much, because what I do have my opinion on is going to make a few people mad. But folks, like they say, opinions are like buttholes. Some are bigger than others, and yeah, I have a pretty big butt.
And Samard back in the pits. Not the night he was hoping for.
I joined the broadcast a little late, Tony. Did you get a read on what their expected laps were going to be with fuel load and what their tire wear was looking like?
As far as fuel load goes, you're looking about a 2-stop race as Chris Beam gets it all wrong going into the S. Let's back that up and see what happened there. Carrying a ton of speed in the draft of, I believe that's Jeff Wubker. No, that was Sam Cooper Bennett in front of him. And just overcooks the brakes. Bastain and Mark Walker getting by him, though. No, that was Hollingsworth. I'm sorry. Hollingsworth able to get by.
I'm going to drop down 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Okay. And we are back live as Ron Hollyfield struggling a little bit. Paul Crumry missing the nose of his car. Let's see what happened to Paul here. If we can go back. Oh, there it is. Just overcooks it and eats the concrete coming out of the double right-hander. Gets it pointed straight. Missing the front wing. Going to have to get a new one put on there. Down and away in 7 seconds. Just enough time for that team to put a new front wing on that car. Checking back in with your leader, Keith Mayato. Chris Walker keeping him honest. The lead is still 2.2. So Walker actually starting to make up a little bit of time. Walker currently with the fast lap of the race with a 105.7. Keith Mayato 105.8 was his quick lap. So those two, the only two so far to go sub 1.6. And Scotty Brinson just trying to keep that Fuzzies 14 clean. And, you know, you talk to Scott anytime we come to a road course, and he'll tell you he's just trying to survive. So don't look for him to set the track on fire. Just look for him to, you know, try to keep that car clean and not overdrive it, and have that car able to be pushed onto the hauler by the team and not pieced on the hauler.
Yeah, sorry about that. I wanted to drop down and listen to the drivers because I was hearing a little bit of chatter after that few of those off tracks, and I got to give it to the guys in these leagues. There was nobody calling out anyone out except for themselves for being stupid, and these guys got massive respect.
And Scotty Brinson in a four-wheel drift coming through that double right-hander. Going to lose a ton of time to Rick Ravon here. Matter of fact, Ravon gaining a full second on Brinson after that oops. But again, Brinson keeping it clean and showing why he is the two-time defending series champion, looking to three-peat. And he's got Jeff Hollingsworth in his way. But Hollingsworth currently sitting in 7th. There you see Hollingsworth in the white and blue with the red orange rims. As Crumry got the new front wing put on, he's trying to make up as much time as he possibly can for Mr. Feelgood's on that car. And you know, Crumry trying to make up some positions here. Came into tonight 5th in points, only 2 spots back from Simard. So Crumry looking to, if everything holds the way it is right now, Crumry should be able to jump Simard in the points, as Chris Walker should be able to as well. Simard currently sitting 15th.
Speaking of Chris Simard, he seems to be out of the car, and let's get a little chat with him up here in the booth.
Sure.
Chris, how are you doing? Byron and Tony up here in the booth here at ESBN. How's things on the track, or sorry, off the track?
Yeah, I just wanted to come up and apologize for my driving. If there was ever a night I wanted to throw my wheel off the table, it's tonight. So I just did a horrible job just from the start. I apologize if I screwed anyone up in the race. So that's all.
Well, Chris, I can tell you for a fact, because I got my ear on the driver channel, no one's mad at you. Everyone's showing mad respect out there. And you know what? I'm with you, brother, on that one, because road courses have made me want to throw my wheel away a few times itself. And part of that, what Tony and I were talking about before the race started, it's going to be consistency. It's not going to be the fastest laps turn. It's going to be who can turn them the most on the track.
Yeah, it seems like if you're consistent, you'll do well. But the way I was driving it, and probably not the right way, is I had to drive the car like a wild man just to get a good lap. So that's probably half the reason why I was off the track and all that. So.
Well, Chris, we enjoy having you up here. Sorry you're out of the race like you are, but you know what? We live, we learn, we lick our wounds, and we just come back ready to rock next weekend.
Yeah, 10-4. I feel horrible. It's not the way I want to race, but we'll get her next week. It's an oval, so I'm happy. So.
There you go, Chris. Well,
where are we next week, Chris?
I think it's Twin
Motegi?
Motegi.
Nice.
Yep. So.
All right.
Hopefully, I'll do better next week.
All right,
I'm
Chris.
Sure you will, Chris. That was nice chatting with you.
Yeah, 10-4, guys. Have a good night.
You can tell, Byron, just how heartbroken he is by not being able to really get after it.
Yeah, I understand his frustration. I understand his feelings. I get that way myself on several races, but you know, it shows a lot of heart to come up and say, "Hey, look, I didn't mean to. I hope I didn't mess anyone else up," which he didn't. And the race goes on. He's licking his wounds, and he'll be back to fire it up again. He's a great driver.
Absolutely, you know, and Road Atlanta is one of those tracks that either you get the rhythm early and can find your flow, or you're not going to get the rhythm ever.
Road Atlanta is a track that I have to put hundreds of laps on in practice because it is such a rhythm and flow track. There's really only one part of this track you get any kind of break to where you can take one hand off the wheel, flex your fingers, gather your thoughts, and that's on that long straightaway. But it is a short-lived long straightaway, especially the speed these cars carry, and you have to get on the binders hard because that is a quick S-turn down that hill.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we're following Chris Walker now as he's coming down that long chute. 170 miles an hour before he had to climb on the binders coming down the hill. And, you know, then you're back into the roller coaster. And back in the early 90s, there was an entertainment company that tried to make a roller coaster simulate this track. and it made people nauseous.
Well, I can understand why. Corners that sharp with that many G-forces in an off-camber situation, your inner ear is saying one thing, but your eyes are saying something totally different.
Well, your entire body after it is calling you the southbound end of a northbound horse and doesn't want to play nicely after that.
Nope. Depends, or probably a uniform requirement.
Hashtag not wrong. But again, let's take a quick look at the current running order. Mayato, Chris Walker, Rayvon Brinson, Cooper Bennett, Wubker, Hollingsworth, Kevin O'Brien, the last car on the lead lap as the leaders take it pit side. So there's your answer. 18 laps, Byron, is about all you're going to get out of a tank of fuel.
I don't think they were hurting on the tire end too much, but I did notice there were some four-wheel drifting going on.
But Kevin O'Brien was the last car on the lead lap. Cameron Bastain just got his lap back. Scott Brinson inherits the lead. He stays out one more lap, so Brinson able to squeeze another lap out of the tank. And then you've got Chris Beam moving into the top 10 as well. Mayato and Walker both down and away. Mayato able to maintain second. Cooper Bennett stays out as well. He moves up into second. And that was very short-lived as Mayato on the fresh tires just blasts by him.
I'm going to be very interested to see where Scotty shakes out in this pit cycle.
Probably where he was before they started going in, which would be fourth. Scott's usually one of those ones that can hit his marks on his pit stop, as he's going pit side this time.
Well, Jeff Lumpker just calling for his pit in, as well as Sam Cooper Bennett.
Not a real shocker there. As Mayato getting ready to flash by, he's coming onto the front straightaway now. And then you see Brinson still not in his pit stall. There goes Mayato. Here comes Walker. Cooper Bennett's in the pits. Wubker's in the pits. Rayvon coming down. He's already gone pit side, so look for him to take back over third. Brinson down and away as Rayvon flashes by.
I'm watching an interesting battle between Chris Walker and Mark Walker. Chris finally getting around him.
And Mark is a lap down.
Yeah, but he was fighting to hold that spot, and it did show that you were right. You got to give a little to get a little on these corners, and it's not just easy to flash around somebody.
No, you've definitely got to give some going in to get it coming out, especially that back-to-back right-hander, because once you come out of that second right-hander, you're uphill. So you've got to have as much exit speed on the flat as you can, or else you're just going to get eaten alive down that straightaway. So the only one in the top 5 who hasn't gone pit side yet,
Kevin O'Brien holding it out there for a 21st lap, possibly?
now, mind you, Kevin did pit start. And he does have wing damage, too. So, bringing it pit side this time, you're going to get 4 Mr. Feelgoods, some go-go juice, and a new front wing.
I'm also showing Cameron Bastain still out there on the track, as well as Ron Hollyfield.
And Bastain's going pit side this time. Again, big wing damage on Bastain's 51. Wow, look at that thing tweaked.
Doesn't take much of a bump to bend up the material on these things.
Not at all. As Mark Walker coming into the downhill. We're going to see if Walker's going to take a pit side this time. He should. He's within that window. Looking a 2-stop race. And yeah, Walker not even trying to get on it coming over the hill. Getting it woed down. So the only other one who has not gone pit side yet is going to be that man in the Ferrari colors. going a lap down. That's second place behind him. Oh, hang on to her.
Oh, yeah, through those S's, one right on his tail.
Oh, Chris Walker not happy as... Who was that? That was Mike... No, Chris Beam getting it all wrong, coming through the bottom side of the S's there.
Elected to take the toe to pit lane.
Smart move there. Let's take a look at what happened. Uphill, cresting the hill, and just gets it all wrong, catches too much of the curbing, and spins it out as the leaders go flashing by. But Hollyfield's still out, coming into the downhill now. Looks like Chris Walker was able to get by while we were watching the replay there. We are back live now.
And that was the conversation I had to have with you tonight, was how is the dragon teeth on the suspension of these cars? And it looks like not good.
No, definitely not. Curbs are not your friend. As Hollyfield, the final one to bring it pit side. So everybody has gone pit side. Take a quick look at your running order. Kevin O'Brien, the last car on the lead lap. So there's Mayato, there's O'Brien. O'Brien just went a lap down. So Keith Mayato, Chris Walker, Rick Ravon, Scott Brinson, Sam Cooper Bennett, Jeff Wubker, Jeff Hollingsworth, your points leader coming into tonight. The last car on the lead lap.
You know, and I want to send a shout out to my man Sam Cooper Bennett out there and give him a little bit of love from the broadcast, because you know what? I have seen luck from drivers go bad, and I've seen him taken out of race after race of no fault of his own to catch somebody else's dumpster fire. But I want to give him a big shout out, holding P5 on this road course and keeping it on track and holding it steady.
So Sam, when you meet Byron at the amusement park, be sure to kick him in the ding-ding because he just jinxed you.
Well, I'm just so glad you picked up on that.
Yeah, it's kind of an unwritten rule here at ESBN. If somebody's having a good night that normally doesn't have a good night, we try not to mention that they're having a good night. You know, it's kind of like a pitcher throwing a shutout. You don't talk about the shutout until after the shutout.
Hey, but this is me we're talking about. I'm giving out the good juju. I'm passing out the good luck. I'm sending the good mojo. And hopefully he'll put his voodoo doll in me away.
So, Sam, when you want to mail the bag of dicks to Byron, that's Byron Rodney, Marietta, Ohio, just PM me after the race and I'll give you his address. I'll even send you pictures of the house.
You know what? I would expect to see those come in.
Yeah.
Oh no.
True story. But anyways, you know, Byron, I do have to thank you for joining me tonight, simply because the closest battle on track right now is between that man right there, Kevin O'Brien, currently sitting in 8th, who is 4 seconds back off your current points leader, who is about to go a lap down. That man right there, Jeff Hollingsworth, in the NLR number 97. And again, Keith Mayato, as Hollingsworth does a little landscaping, giving Mayato the preferred line going into the corner.
It does take it a lap down, and we're 6 cars on the lead lap.
Absolutely. And you know, Mayato, like we mentioned earlier, the only Alfa Romeo-powered IndyCar in existence currently. So, something to be mindful of. And just announced earlier this week for the 2021 engine package for IndyCar, they announced earlier in the season that there was a 3rd engine manufacturer looking to come on board to join Honda and Chevy.
And that would be?
They haven't announced who yet. All they said was it was a German manufacturer was the 3rd engine package. Which, there's a couple different ways that it could go. They're speculating that it's either going to be someone from the Volkswagen Group, or
Harvick, Nugent, and Indy.
or it's going to be BMW. I have to kind of lean more towards BMW.
Belgian Motor Works will be up there representing if it is them.
But there's also this past week been announced that there's going to be a fourth engine manufacturer coming into the series.
VW comes in with a manufacturer, and they go ahead and put in for the Indy 500. Can you imagine the press talking about a Volkswagen winning the 500?
Well, it wouldn't be any worse than when I had to actually find the record of a Cummins engine setting an Indy track record.
Now that I'd love to talk about.
Back in the 50s, there was a Cummins-powered Indy car, and it set a track record, and immediately they outlawed the engine before it was even allowed to run in competition.
Well, if it's anything like the Cummins engines that you and I drove in the past few years, yeah, they need to. What was that speed record? 28 miles an hour?
No, it was when the Offenhauser engine was able to crank out like 152. The Cummins-powered car went 158. I mean, it was like 5-6 miles an hour faster per lap. But yeah,
I'm gonna have to go back and look that one up.
you do that. But there's talk that the fourth engine manufacturer allegedly, and again, this is early, it hasn't been confirmed who it's going to be yet, but there's talk that it's going to be an Asian manufacturer, a second Asian manufacturer.
I'm just hoping Dodge comes back to NASCAR.
I'm just hoping Dodge comes back to racing, period, other than NHRA, because that seems to be the only place where they're putting their money right now. But there's, again, you've got the Germans are throwing their hat into the ring in IndyCar, and there's supposedly a second Asian manufacturer looking to come in. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Byron, but wasn't Infinity part of the Indy series for a while with their Nissan Infinity?
Yes, it was the Nissan Infinity Group, but that kind of dissolved real fast.
Well, the other option that they haven't done it yet would be Toyota. So
I'm going to have to take a look at this here. I'm showing some people moving in and out off the track here. Something happened with Holyfield. He's down 3 laps. I see Crumride down 2 laps. It's either that or Keith Miato's just laying him down, blistering him out.
Keith Miato's laying him down. His last 3 laps have been sub 1.6.
Talk about consistency. His best lap was a 105.3, and a 105.7 was his last lap. And he's on 10-lap old tires, halfway through a fuel stint.
Right, and you take a look at where everybody else is. Chris Walker's last lap, 107.1. Rick Ravon, 107 flat. Scotty Brinson, 107.5. Sam Cooper Bennett, 107.5. Jeff Wubker, 107.5. Jeff Hollingsworth, 108.2. Kevin O'Brien, 107.1. So, I mean, these guys are turning decent laps, but...
And, you know, when I sit...
Oh! What happened to Chris Walker? He's missing part of his wing. Why is he missing part of his wing? As we're going back to see if we can find it here. He's still missing it there. Still missing it there. Oh, there he is. Oh, that's what happened. The Walker boys got into it. Chris gave Mark a shot, and the right rear tire of Mark's car took off the left front wing of Chris's car.
That'll definitely affect the cornering on the old right-handers.
I'm not sure if Chris realizes how damaged he is, as the gap from Chris to Keith was just about 10 seconds. It's now 16 seconds and opening.
Raven's closing it up. He's under 9, coming in under 9 seconds, closing it up. I believe Chris is going to try and stretch this out if he has a fast prepare left to his next fuel stop or get in that fuel window for the money stop.
Well, there are 25 laps to go, so they're not quite at the you can make it from here mark yet. Another 5 laps and you should be able to make it.
But he is holding his interval over Rick Raven and Scotty Brinson.
Kind of.
Losing ground to Keith Mayato for certain.
Yes, that he just lost a full second to Mayato. And Raven just reeled him in 2/10. And Raven's dealing with traffic too. Raven just got by Mark Walker through that double right-hander and lost it all on the uphill. That what was a 9 flat is now to 9.3. So Raven not able to capitalize on the mistake yet.
Yeah, but I'm also watching the timing on Scotty Brinson. He is closing that gap ever so slowly with Rick Raven. We're going to have a battle on this track before too long.
Absolutely, and it's going to come down to the money stop, which we're about 4, maybe 5 laps away from seeing said money stop.
Well, Raven got around that last one. Boy, he's picking him up and putting him down. He's closing that gap on Walker now.
Absolutely. And Walker's struggling. Walker is actually struggling now. It was 9.2, now down to 6.4. As we're gonna watch this one shape up.
Raven closing in on Walker. Brinson closing in on Raven. This could get interesting here in the next few laps.
Very much so. And again, you take a look at where they are in the point standings. Chris Walker coming into tonight 6th in points after missing Pocono last week. Scotty Brinson looking to have as many points to the good as he can. After he dropped 8 to Jeff Hollingsworth, who won last week.
Speaking of Jeff Hollingsworth, we're about to have a battle between Jeff Hollingsworth and Kevin O'Brien.
And there you see both of them as they go into that off-camber downhill, carrying a ton of speed into the double right-handers.
See, on my driving, this is where I get, if I was in Hollingsworth's spot, I'd see Kevin O'Brien in my rearview mirror, and I'd start, just unconsciously overdriving the hell out of corners.
You're not wrong. That's one of the reasons why I don't drive a lot of road courses. And when I do, I'm usually part of a team that I usually don't jump into the car until after it's been binned at least once, so I don't feel bad by overdriving the car.
Hey, we carried out the night shift at Daytona with flying colors.
Yes, we did, and surprisingly, the car was not binned when I got into it, which is it's a first.
I remember being, and I still thank you guys for allowing me to be the one to bring it over the checkers at the end of the 24. But I still have that picture that Sam gave me as a screenshot or screensaver on my computer of me coming over the checkered line. And that car, Ruby, was shining. She had no dings and dents on her.
Absolutely. And this battle is really starting to heat up now between Hollingsworth and O'Brien. Your points leader and 10th in points just throwing hand grenades at each other. O'Brien biding his time, though. And that's the one thing you can say about Kevin O'Brien is he's not going to purposely put the car in a bad situation.
But he is not letting off one little goat's hair of an inch to Jeff. He's waiting for Jeff to make that mistake to get around him. And also, there's going to be the strategy side of things coming on here because we are at 20 laps to go coming on this next lap.
Oh, there it is! Oh!
Hollingsworth caught up on the wall. Oh, my God, that's going to be a tow.
Unfortunately, yes. Hollingsworth's night just got a whole lot longer. Let's watch that one again. Oh, my Lanta. Coming into the uphill, just gets it all wrong and just bang into the concrete. Missed the tires and completely rips the front wing, nose clip and the rear suspension out of that car. So Scotty Brinson just has to bring the car home in one piece, and we got a new points leader.
Oh, my heart goes out to Jeff. But it was that thing I was talking to you about. You know, when I get someone just stalking me, they're not bumping me, they're not rubbing me, they're not even super close, but they're not backing off, and I know they're there. I tend to start overdriving subconsciously those corners. I wonder if that's what actually bit Jeff in the butt.
That's a good possibility. And the other thing, too, that we missed during that entire exchange, money stops have started. Chris Walker, the first one to blink. Rayvon inherits second place. Scotty Brinson, what was a 4-second gap, now down to 2.3. So you see Rayvon, there's Brinson right behind him. And those two still have to make their money stop. Keith Mayato, 29 seconds to the good.
This is all on Keith Mayato to lose. And sitting in the cockpit, he's holding such a pretty wheel on here. I don't think he's actually pushing his car as much as he's on a Sunday drive.
Well, the other thing, too, take a look at Mayato's last lap.
Yeah, 105.4.
A 105.4, 18 laps into a stint. And he's dealing with lap traffic. He knows he's 30 seconds to the good. And he's just biding his time right now as he goes past Mike Grandy.
Closest battle on the track is Rick Rayvon and Scotty Brinson, and I do believe it's going to be a matter of who blinks first to go into the pit and who hits. It's going to be all about that money stop for these two.
Absolutely, and you know, you kind of got to wonder what's going to happen because Rayvon's only in his second race back with the series. Took some time off after missing a few races at the end of last season. Came back last week, had a strong showing at Pocono. Comes here to Road Atlanta, and ooh, little twitchy coming out of the second right-hander.
Yeah, they're tiptoeing around there. Those tires are getting worn.
And Mayato goes pit side. Here they go into the downhill, into the S's.
See if they decide to call the money stop now or keep one more on the track.
Well, we're about to find out. Raven goes, nope, yes, Raven goes pit side. Raven goes pit side. Brinson stays out for one more lap.
I don't think Brinson's going to get, well, he already picked up a bonus point for leading the lap, so he's not going to get another one this time around, I don't believe.
No, because that's Mayato right in front of him, and Mayato's got fresh Mr. Feelgoods on that car.
Yeah, look for Mayato to just gap the field some more. Rayvon looks like he makes a clean pit entrance. He's into the pit. Car is up. Car is down. And he's away.
9.5. So that car was almost bingo on fuel.
Well, with less than 20 to go. He's good on fuel the rest of the way. Now it's all about just holding that pretty wheel and holding your track position. I think Raven's going to post a good finish here.
He's going to post a good finish. The question is, what type of finish is Scotty Brinson going to get as he stays out another lap? Brinson looking to short pit as much as he can.
Does Mr. Feelgoods, he's counting on being able to push it really hard around this road course for the last laps.
Well, here's the thing. If you take a look at Brinson's last handful of laps, he's not dropping off.
Yeah, 106s he's posting up there. He's pushing them and cooking them.
Not really. That's where, I mean, you take a look at his last, if you take a look at his last lap and his fast lap, there's not that big of a difference between the two.
No, I mean, he's not cooking his tires. I mean, he's cooking those lap times. He is holding a consistent and pretty wheel.
Absolutely. And that's something you really need to focus on above everything else here at Road Atlanta. You know, is just making sure that you hit your marks lap after lap after lap, and you'll just wear everybody flat out.
I just heard Brinson on the radio calling out his pit. He's going to be taking a pit side this lap right here.
And there he goes here. Tough entry in a pit here. Gets it woed down, and 33 seconds was the gap from Rick Ravon to Keith Mayato.
Sam Cooper Bennett calling off his pit. He'll be bringing it pit side here shortly himself.
So there we see SCB going in. Now, mind you, Chris Walker's already gone pit side. So you see him going back into the pits?
9.3 for Scotty Brinson on that pit stop, and he is down and away.
I'm just trying to figure out why Chris Walker went back pit side. I don't see any damage on the car. As Ravon flashes by.
Could he have possibly taken a penalty?
Not 4 laps into a stint. And there's the battle for second. Brinson comes out right behind Ravon.
This is going to be a good closing here.
Absolutely. Keith Mayato, 34 seconds up the road, so unless he completely steps on his own junk.
Yeah, listening to the in-game, I believe Scotty's already going for the "I'm going to get in your head" strategy right here.
Situation normal.
Scotty just commenting out of watch that wreck, watch that grass. You don't want to catch a DNF. Here I am. I should have messed with my brake. He is just getting inside Ravon's head just a little bit. Of course, Ravon not answering him. Ravon concentrating on putting down the laps.
Well, let me point something out to you that you might not know, Byron, because, and I'm going to say this, and you'll understand what I'm saying when I say it. Rick's one of us.
Gotcha.
It's very difficult to get inside a Class A driver's head. So, good luck, Scott.
Ravon trying to break that draft on that straightaway, giving it the old snake down the straight.
And he learned that from the guy he used to be teammates with until he took the time off, and that was Sage Karam. You know, those guys not afraid to do the Indy snake. Ravon 3/10 to the good over Scotty Brinson that last lap.
I'm getting the feeling Scotty's not pushing himself as super hard. He's just holding position, just waiting for those closing laps.
Yeah, he's just trying to keep Ravon honest right now. 14 laps to go. So still plenty of time to get it done.
The jinx, yeah, I'm getting kicked in the ding-ding.
Yeah, you are. Holy Christmas.
Chris Walker and Sam Cooper Bennett.
Yeah, Sam, I'll pick you up at the airport and bring you to Byron's work. Holy cow.
Sam, to put it
How you doing? Are you all right? Are you okay? Just sit back. You all right?
I think so.
Are you sure? Because you just went through a wall.
Yes, he did, and he is less than happy with Chris Walker right now.
Well, let's go back and take a look at what did happen there, because we missed it. Well, I missed. Oh! That's what happened! Let's see what the chopper picked up. So you see Chris moving to the right. Okay. I'm not sure what I just saw.
I think what I just saw was, wow, Sam Cooper defending his position, actually.
I'm not sure about that.
I gotta watch that in slow motion. Because Sam took a hard right turn right there before the corner.
Yeah, I'm not sure why we just saw what we just saw. What on earth was that about? Okay. So we're back live. Cooper Bennett has burned his fast repair. As Paul Crumry getting the hell out of the way.
That leaves us down to, if I'm not mistaken, 3 cars on the lead lap, and we're going to have Keith Mayatos. It's his to lose. It's going to be a battle between Rick Raven and Scotty Brinson for that second spot.
Absolutely. And Raven coming up on a section of track that's not easy to pass, and he's got Kevin O'Brien right in front of him. As we are closing in on 10 to go. O'Brien trying to stay the heck out of the way, gives everybody the racing line. And so Raven gets by clean. There's Brinson with O'Brien between he and Raven.
I look for O'Brien to yield that line when Brinson gets there, just like he did for Raven.
Right, but the problem is where he's catching him. It's not gonna be easy. I mean, yeah, they're coming into the downhill that leads into that double right-hander. So
boy, they gotta bleed off so much speed for that second right hand.
Yeah, they do. You either bleed it off going into the first, or you're gonna just eat it going into the second. But
I've noticed they've been slowing it down for the second so they can get that drive off.
Absolutely. You've kind of got to carry a little bit in. Oh, Kevin. Well, Kevin, discretion the better part of valor, eats the grass to stay out of Brinson's way. So good on you, Kevin, for that.
Hey, Kevin O'Brien not running a slouch race. He's going P5 in my book here.
He is, and we're going to take a quick look at our top 5. Mayato, Raven, Brinson, Wubker, and O'Brien. Wubker and O'Brien are both 1 lap down. And then we'll take a look at the top 10. Wubker, O'Brien, Chris Walker, and Sam Cooper Bennett all 1 lap down.
2 laps for Bostaine, Hollingsworth, and then 3 for Mark Walker, Paul Crumry. 4 laps for Mike Gandy, and Ron Holyfield 5.
And Holyfield in 13th, the last car still running. So, and Raven getting stuck behind Holyfield. That's going to bite into the lead just a tick as we are inside 9 to go.
Getting close to that time to hit the scramble button, and all bets are off.
Well, the thing is, Brinson and Raven both just put up 106.4s. Keith Mayato just put up a 106.4. And the track temperature has dropped dramatically. We were at 90 degrees when this race started. We're now down to 76 degree ambient air temperature, 78 degree track temperature.
On the track.
Yeah, so that means that if there's any grip left in the racing surface, you're going to have it now. So there's second place.
Sir, got a crew chief keeping an eye on that for him, telling him time to go.
Well, the thing is, there's Raven going into the right-hander. There's Scotty Brinson right behind him. And it looks like Raven may have hit the scramble button. Brinson not having the lap he was hoping for. Raven just gained a whole second. And he's got Mark Walker in front of him.
Yeah, Time to be smart with the lap traffic. You don't want to come this far and do that, push that hard to get that good, to get a DNF.
Absolutely, as uses a little push to pass going into the first right-hander. There's Brinson right behind him. Brinson gonna need to use whatever push to pass he has left.
Well, Scotty chopping it back down to 2.2 on the gap.
And Brinson had an off track somewhere. Well, there you go. He gained 7/10 that last lap.
Brinson is hell-bent on making a race out of this thing with 5 to go.
I wouldn't put it past him. And, you know, you're seeing why Scott Brinson is a 2-time defending series champion. You know, he'll race hard, but he'll race smart. As much as he's going to want second place, he's got a podium in his pocket. So don't look for him to do anything stupid, but he's going to run as hard as he can comfortably run that car and put the pressure on Rayvon and hope for Rayvon to make the mistake.
Well, he's got 47-second lead over the next position behind him. So, yeah, all he's got to do is just put it in cruise control, and he's got a podium, but that's not Scotty. The Scotty we know is going to push it as hard as he can. He's going to get up there and fight for that second spot.
He's going to push it as hard as he comfortably can. That's the key. And it, you know, like we've said before, Scott Brinson will be the first one to tell you. And cut a little too much of that first part of that switchback S turn. So that negated the timing on that lap. But, you know, Scotty will be the first one to tell you, he's not comfortable on road courses. Not as comfortable as he is on, you know, ovals.
He must have caught some damage because he's not happy with his performance in that corner, and the gap between him and Raven is starting to open up a bit.
Well, he had to slow down. Coming into that downhill left-right combo,
And they gave him the flag.
they gave him the slow down, and he's on it right now. So, but Keith Mayato, 27 seconds to the good. So Mayato with 5 to go, just on cruise control right now as we're watching this battle for second. And there you see Rayvon, you see Scotty Brinson in the background. Brinson's got 5 laps to reel him in, and as you and I both well know, catching somebody is one thing, getting by them is another.
Something different. I don't know how many times we've seen in this league these guys take a 5-foot wide car and make it look 15 feet wide to the guy right behind them.
And Brinson is on a tear right now. It was 2.7, it's now down to 1.9.
Here he comes. I will be right back.
Rayvon down to it, opening it back up. Brinson was 0.2 quicker than him that lap. Give a little, take a little, as we're 4 laps to go. Your leader, Keith Mayato, still 27 seconds to the good. Rick Rayvon holding down a strong second place finish and only his second race back with the series.
Thank God they put the porta potties right behind the broadcast booth.
Yeah. Anywho,
Just playing with it.
Raven still 27 seconds off of Mayato. Brinson keeping him honest. And again, I'm thinking as we're 3 to go, Mayato flashes across the line. I'm thinking Brinson, he knows what the points battle is coming into tonight. Jeff Hollingsworth sitting in 8th.
Scotty's going to ride this one out. He's going to take the points, call it a good night, and move to the next track.
Absolutely. As, Twin Ring Motegi, I don't know if you've had much experience there, Byron, but that track is ornery.
I hadn't been out with the open wheel. I did closed wheel on there, and if I remember right, that first turn is a little on the narrow side.
It's kind of like Gateway if they reversed how the track was banked. Instead of banking 1 and 2, they banked 3 and 4, but it's still the same tight radius. So it's kind of like Gateway done by a failed memory. Popsicle sticks are out. Mayato's got 2 laps to go. Still 27 seconds to the good. And Brinson is chipping away 1/10 of a second a lap at a time. He's got to hope for Ravon to make a mistake if he's going to have any shot at this one.
Yeah, Scotty's got a faster car at the moment, but he's going to run out. He's not going to lose. He's just going to run out of time.
Well, there's 6/10 to the good.
He shaved it down. He's 1.5 behind him. He's pushing it.
Well, he's, as you said, he's hit that scramble button, and they've got lap traffic in front of them.
Scotty's chopped 2 seconds off of that gap, heading for the final lap.
Absolutely, as they're coming into the double right-hander.
With lap traffic, and Ravon wiggles it off that corner. A little fast to the gas on some worn rear tires equals loose.
Very much so. As they're coming into that downhill section. And that is... that's Hollyfield and Hollingsworth directly in front of them.
Here we go. 12 more corners to decide second and third.
Keith Mayato's got to step on his own junk to not come home with the victory at this point.
Keith Mayato can go in third gear and still
win. Not where he was hoping to catch Hollyfield. That's going to let Brinson get right on him. Raven's got to be screaming right now behind the wheel of that car. Hollyfield doing what he can to get out of the way. Oh, baby! That could have ended poorly. I don't think Hollingsworth realized Brinson was that close.
I think Brinson changed the color of his fire suit there.
Some poos come out!
Well, as we take it down to the final S's under the Suzuki Bridge to the start-finish line, looks like Rick Raven's going to hold on to that second-place finish.
Absolutely, as a valiant effort from Scotty Brinson. Raven going to hang on for second. Brinson for third. Wubker going to come home 1 lap down in fourth. Kevin O'Brien in fifth. So great points nights for Mayato, O'Brien, and Brinson. And there is your winner, the Canadian crippler himself,
Keith Mayato.
Keith Mayato coming home with the big victory. And we are going to reach out now to our winner. Keith Mayato, after missing Pocono, brings home the victory in the only Alfa Romeo powered IR18 in existence. Keith, congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a long, I guess, a little break here, but I guess it paid off.
Absolutely.
I have to tell you, that was a very, pleasant ride around Atlanta because we fired up the GoPro sitting on top of the car there. You've held a pretty wheel around that track. We were talking about consistency being the key, and oh my God, you hit those marks like there was no tomorrow.
You think so? Because I didn't think so. No, I tried to be as consistent as I can, and then I got a little complacent there at one point. That I don't know what the hell I was looking at, but I totally missed the apex and spun it around. But I guess it happens. I had a big enough lead to I guess, cover that.
Absolutely. Now, coming into tonight, you were battling very hard with your teammate, Chris Simard. Only 1 point separated the two of you in your battle for third. Chris not having the night he was hoping for, so you kind of extended that lead a little bit over your teammate. Talk to us about your thoughts going into next week as we go to the Land of the Rising Sun in Twin Ring Motegi.
Yeah, Chris had I guess a rough night. He had so many off tracks. He just put it in the, just parked the thing. He just had enough. I guess he was just wasn't his night. But yeah, me pulling ahead of another guy in the points, even though it's my teammate, is a good thing. And Motegi, I've had nothing but bad luck there. I've always been involved in something. Fun track, great track, but it's tough when you got a big pack of cars. Especially because there's two different corners and the hard braking going to 3 and 4, just adds to a lot of fun.
Well, then I'm going to do something that I did last season in a different league that worked out for the best. I believe it was going into Homestead, and I said Keith Mayato for the win. I'm going to say Keith Mayato for the win at Twin Ring.
That's a pretty big prediction. I don't know about that.
So,
yeah, some of the rest of us are going to have something to say about that.
Yeah, they did that after the first turn.
Yeah, hearing the voice of our third place finisher there, Mr. Scotty Brinson.
Yes, sir. I'm soaking wet. I had chasing these boys down. They made me work for it tonight. Finish that third place.
Well, to tell you honest truth, you were pushing it real hard there in the last couple of laps. Give me and Tony something to focus in on, because between you and Rick Ravon there, we thought we were going to see us a shootout there, right there at the tail end.
Yeah, well, Rick drove his ass off tonight, and every time I kept getting back to him, I even jumped him in the second pit there, and I didn't set my brake bias, and he got back by me because the car wouldn't stop when I tried to go in the corner and damn near went off the track. And just some other things that went down, but he ultimately earned second place and drove his ass off. But yeah, man, I had to earn third place tonight. I just put my head down. I'm getting better and better at these road courses as these guys are seeing in the results. First it was at Sebring, and now tonight I'm proud to say I only finished 29 seconds behind the leader. So that's not too shabby in my opinion.
Yeah, well, that was the topic that Tony and I had talking about through the race a whole bunch. Was it wasn't the fastest car that was going to probably take this thing. It was whoever could hold it on the track with the most consistent holding a pretty wheel.
Yeah, well, that didn't quite work out because setting the fastest lap of the race was Keith Mayato. However, the two most consistent laps of the race, as far as drivers go, second and third, both of them with a 106.5 average lap time. Second place, joining us now also, Mr. Rick Ravon and Scotty Brinson. So congratulations to the two of you for setting the most consistent laps of the night.
Mr. Ravon, it's been a while since I've talked to you. How are you doing, my friend? And congratulations on second place.
Thanks very much. It's nice to see you. I don't know what to say. I'm thrilled to death. I mean, Keith Mayato was just an alien tonight. There's no way I could have caught him. I was struggling to find speed in practice, and I think I was sixth on the chart. And then in qualifying, I found where I was missing some speed, and I was able to jump up to I qualified third, which was a surprise to me. But then I said, "Oh, okay, now I know what to do." I'm not going to say what it was, but.
Well, the race is over now. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you'll have to share that secret with me because I need to improve my road course game. I noticed you guys were giving up a lot of speed on that twin right hand, on that second right-hander, so you can get that down. But I also noticed it was also killing you. You getting a little wiggly on there on the way out. Was Scotty breathing down your neck, making you jump that throttle just a little faster? It was just the tire wear was that bad on there?
I don't think it was really tire wear. I was just biding my time. I just wanted to get through this damn thing because, the curbs will kill you. If you get a wheel off, you could go around so easily. So I just wanted to be smooth and consistent, but I guess that was enabling Scott to reel me in. And then when I saw him getting closer, I would kind of step it up a little bit. And well, he says he had problems. I saw he had a couple of problems back there, but whenever he started getting close, I would just have to turn it up and just kind of, take the bull by the horns and go for it, because I didn't want him to get too close. Because when Scott smells blood, he's like a tiger. He'll bite you and bite you real hard.
Yeah, we were watching that. He was holding pace with you for those last 10 laps after you guys made the money stop. And then all of a sudden, with 2 to go, he started chopping the tenths off of that. I think he chopped a full 2.5 seconds off in that interval just before, lap traffic. He couldn't get around it. Almost lost it himself on there. And it was time to not take the DNF, just take that 3rd place, take the points, move on to Motegi.
Well, that's the idea. I'm not in the points because I missed the first half of the season, but I guess maybe I'd have a shot if I had started from the beginning, because I'm having a pretty good run here. 2 races, 2 second places. But I'm really missing that top spot. I hope to get it at Motegi, but this was just such a great race. I'm just glad to be a part of Top Fuel Racing.
Yeah, you keep holding the wheel like you were, like I watched on this race tonight, my friend. You're going to be in that top spot before you know it.
Well, I appreciate that. That means a lot, and I hope you're right. We'll keep trying, that's for damn sure.
But getting back to next week's race, joining us now also, coming home in 6th place tonight. Not the finish he was hoping for. And Sam, don't worry. Byron already knows you're going to be kicking him in the ding-ding for jinxing you, as Mr. Sam Cooper Bennett. Sam, your thoughts as the season moves forward to the Land of the Rising Sun next week?
He's got his mic muted. There he is.
Hello,
Hello?
Sam. There we go. Sam, so your thoughts as we go to Motegi next week?
As long as I don't get run over, it should be fine.
Fair enough.
And yes, like Tony said, I'm going to be looking for the grenade style, grenade proof cup for when I get kicked in the ding ding. Yep, that was my jinx that got you.
No, it was Chris Walker that got me, but that's besides the point.
No, it was Byron that jinxed you, though.
Yeah, I was throwing the love out to the SCB car. I was throwing the love out to the paint job. I was throwing the love out to the one guy that, would catch a car to the face for nothing that he'd done. That, because I've had, my first season in my league was I couldn't turn a lap without getting a truck thrown in my face. But, yeah, I was talking about how good you were, and Tony says, you know what, he's going to kick you in the ding-ding, and sure enough, there goes Chris, will walk right over you.
Yeah, I'm going to admit I'm rather pissed off about tonight. I had a strong car. I was dead set for a top 5, and for something as boneheaded like that to happen, it's inexcusable, and I just don't even know what to think after tonight. So it's pissed me off to a point where I just don't care anymore. It's got that far now. I'm sick of people taking me out all the time.
Well then,
Sam, I feel with you. My heart goes out to you. You know that I've been caught in the dumpster fires many times myself in different races. But on the plus side, you were gunning that top 5. You brought it home with a P6. You're not far off the mark.
Yeah, we're not close enough. So. Yeah.
All right. So, final thoughts, Keith Mayato.
Oh, it was a good race. I was able to run away from Chris there after the first pit stops, which made it a little bit easier. And I appreciate all the guys on the track for giving me room. Everyone gave me room and didn't give me a tough time, and I appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to second that. Everybody was pretty respectful tonight and gave a lot of room and just did a good job of, recognizing early the situation and moving over for everyone. So I want to just say thanks to everybody for it being a much more enjoyable race atmosphere tonight.
All right. So final word, Rick Ravon, before we go to the official results.
Well, obviously, the only thing that would have made this better for me would have been a win. I'm sorry that Keith showed up tonight because he really stunk up the show. I mean, there was just no catching him. Chris Walker was running quick, but I don't think he had quite enough to get him, even if he was to catch up. It would have been a good fight, but I think Mayato had the speed, and he just did such a great job. And, I'm just hoping for a win next week because I'm getting tired of being Mr. Second.
All right. So that's going to do it tonight. And
Good win, my auto.
I believe congratulations need to be in order for Scotty Brinson taking back over the points lead.
It's tied. We're
back tied.
426.
Okay.
Yeah, me and Hollingsworth are tied again, and Keith is now 33 back in third place.
All right.
I want to say one last thing. I want to echo what was said earlier. I think that the backmarkers did a phenomenal job of giving the leaders room, and I just want to give kudos to those guys. You guys did a great job letting us race. Appreciate that.
All right. So coming home with the victory tonight, Keith Mayato, 28.4 seconds to the good. Holy alien level driving. Rick Ravon, tough battle with Scotty Brinson for the final podium spots. Only
human spot.
Yeah, for the humans. Only a second and a half separating you two, and that was there was times where it was a lot closer than that. It was catching lap traffic in the wrong spot that kind of made or broke that battle for second and third. Scotty Brinson coming home in third, Jeff Wubker for fourth, Kevin O'Brien hanging on for fifth, Sam Cooper Bennett sixth, Cameron Bostain in seventh, Jeff Hollingsworth coming home in eighth, Mark Walker in ninth, Mike Grandy in 10th, 11th going to Ron Hollyfield, Chris Walker in 12th, Paul Crumry in 13th, Chris Beam in 14th, and Chris Samard rounding out the drivers who actually did take the green in 15th. Paul Jourdain, Johnny Antonucci, and Dylan Vos not taking the green. Byron Rodney was up here in the booth with me, so don't count him. That is going to do it for us tonight. Again, congratulations going out to excuse me. Congratulations going out again to Mr. Keith Mayato. We will see you next week at Twin Ring Motegi. Don't forget to join Sam and Scotty in the booth tomorrow night.
Nope. Somo's out of business.
Oh. Okay.
Yep. They cut all ties with the broadcasting, and from what I'm hearing, they may not even make it through the season. But I could be wrong about making it through the season. But as far as I know, all broadcasting has been ceased for Somo.
Then be sure to join Adam and Derek in the booth Saturday night when they bring you the NASCOM Online K&N Series from Texas? No, Richmond.
Yes, they're moving on to Richmond.
So that should be a good event. In the meantime, for Mr. Byron Rodney, for Scott Brinson, for Sam Cooper Bennett, for Keith Mayato, for Rick Ravon, this is Tony Trapasso saying keep it clean, keep it green, and we will catch you on the flip side.